We ain't have a prenup because we ain't had nothing.
We had zero.
We was broke together.
Right, our prenup would be like, well, you know what, something happened, you take your zero, I take my zero.
It was like, you got a car note, I got a car note. You got 5 credit cards, I got 5 credit cards. You got student loans, I got student loans. All right, we equally yoked.
And we were financially...
We matched up.
We were. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And we had no assets. So
right,
there it is.
Like, there ain't nothing to divide.
It wasn't nothing to divide.
Like, boom, we good.
But the thing, this brings this up. If something were to happen to me, or if something were to happen to you.
Oh, no, that's a different story now.
Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Erica Young, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it.
Hey, babe, how are you?
I'm doing stupendous.
Wow. That's like that's a strong word. Stupendous. You feeling good?
Feeling good.
Okay, awesome. Me too. So today we are talking about something that I think is a trend.
You got excited about this.
I did. I got excited because homeownership is expensive right now.
Yeah.
It is expensive because interest rates are high. And inventory is low. And the prices are high. And
I think there's a lot of uncertainty economically out there, so people may have some
everything else has gone up.
Trepidation about pulling the trigger on buying a home.
Right. So people are slowing down, trying to figure it out. And I think younger people in particular don't really care about homeownership as much as we probably did when we were coming up. And so
that was the thing to do when we were young adults, is like figure out how to buy a home. And
it was the American dream. And I think I'm just going to go out on a limb here and I say that American dream is changing. Like what
you took the words out of my mouth.
The American dream has changed. It is not like get married, get you a house, have kids. These kids do not care about that. I want to
travel. I want to do what I want to do.
I want to go live life, and maybe I'll get married later and we'll figure out if I'm going to get a house at some point. That's kind of how these kids are.
I want to work as little as I have to and do as much as I can.
And to be clear, kids, I'm talking about people in their 20s. Right. And that's who I'm calling a kid.
Well, we're talking about millennials are a little older than that.
Yeah, so I'm not talking about millennials.
It's the Gen Z. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we kind of like the Gen Z kids.
Yeah. So that is the subject, is creative ways to make home ownership affordable. And I saw a news report one day where young people, friends, okay, let's be clear, platonic friends, like girlfriends, best friends, they are like, I want to buy a house with you. And that makes it a whole lot more affordable. So instead of one person being the renter of the other person, they both have equal equity growing into the home.
Which is actually smart.
It is. And you can structure it such that if somebody sells their portion, or they both sell the house, they both get the equity. Yeah. So
I think the important thing from that is that it emphasizes that home ownership is still an important thing to do. Mm-hmm. And though like the Gen Z might be looking at life and the American dream, quote unquote, as something a little different, they still recognize the value in home ownership, especially when these kids moving to Chicago and rent is like $2,500 a month.
Or New York or LA.
$3,000 in New York for a one room. It's like, hold on now.
So you say it is important. What did you say? It's an important stepping stone. It is the gateway to building wealth. Yeah. Having a home is the very first thing, the biggest asset that you're going to have, and it's going to help you build equity. And so if you get your foot in the door, you can use that equity to go buy another property. So if some friends are going in on a house, and over the time that they are there, it increases in equity by paying down the mortgage and by it appreciating in value. Let's say it's $100,000, and now they each have $50,000 to go buy something else, something on their own, or if they decide to get married or whatever. Like, that is a big deal. And so I think that that's pretty cool, because honestly, that's not something that I was thinking about. You and your cousin, we're going to be doing that.
The more we do this podcast and the more I reveal my life and, reflect on my own life, it's like I was making decisions back in the day that we were like, though it wasn't typical.
Sure.
Like, we were in our 20s, like, hey, we should buy a duplex. Mm-hmm. You live on one side, I live on the other. And we were talking about that, like, before we met and got married. So we had to be like,
you were 22 probably, or 21.
Yeah, 20, 21, in college, thinking about stuff like that. And so
I foiled those plans. I interrupted them.
Yeah, because we probably would have bought a duplex.
If you had not met me and married me, y'all would have had a duplex.
We would have had dual bachelor pads.
No regrets.
No regrets.
That was real slow, sir. I'm going to need you to wait a minute. Back up. Rewind.
Yeah, no
regrets.
Absolutely no regrets.
You know what? Men. I ain't got time for you.
Look, I'm going to change subject. I'm going to keep this train moving. But when you talk about friends, co-buying, I think it's interesting. Like, we talked to our oldest daughter about, buying a home, because she's been paying rent, and, rent, it's like $1,500 a month. I was like, this is a lot of rent. You could own a home and build equity, and trying to walk her down that whole road. And I think I overwhelmed her, because she was like, I don't want all this responsibility. And, I like the ease of everything being taken care of. But it wasn't until she really thought about it and said, you know what? I feel this way about it. Because she saw the responsibility, and, she saw that she could, like, save money and build equity. But she was like, and I was like, yeah, you could have somebody rent and they basically pay the mortgage and you pay the difference. She was like, well, that's not fair. I was like, what you mean? That's how life works.
She, again, is not a person who wants to, she doesn't want to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
And she don't want to do that.
But I think when she saw her friends start to buy homes and move, like, kind of out of the city center, move, stay adjacent to the city, or some of them were moving into the suburbs. I think it's starting to change her point of view. She was like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe I should start thinking about it. So
I respect the fact that she realizes that she's not ready to do that on her own. The one thing that I will say about her is that she likes to live simply. Yeah. Her choice has been to not have a roommate at all, because she wants her own space, her own solace, if you will.
Yeah, she had roommates in college that just, for the lack of better words, they just sucked.
They turned her off on roommate situations.
Like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good on having a roommate. I'm going to pay this rent because I can, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah. So I think that there are some things to consider when we're looking at going in on something with a friend, because let's just say, for instance, if you and your cousin had actually purchased a property together, the biggest thing that I would think would be in jeopardy is how your relationship turns out with that, because it's a partnership.
Yeah.
And there's maintenance that's required, which means that there's money that could be required to get things up to par. There is just keeping things together.
You better trust the person that you're going into this endeavor with.
That part.
I didn't consider this with anybody else other than my cousin.
Yeah.
Because I trust him. And this dude, he was a math major. He was an accounting major. He, is a financial planning professor now. So I knew back then, I could trust him with the money and the numbers.
Exactly.
So I knew what I was getting into. And as we talk about this, I think about our daughter. If she came and said, hey, I want to buy a property and I'm going to go in with my friend, I'd be like, hold on. We need to talk. We need to have some conversation. I need to talk to you and your friend because I would want to know what you're getting yourself into legally and, like the relationship and financially. I would want to know all those details. And I think that's something that if you go into a co-buying situation like that, you have to consider all of those aspects and facets of a rental purchase or a real estate purchase before entering into it.
And I think that having this in writing in a co-ownership agreement is vital. So that's the other piece of this that makes
Can't be
it...
on a napkin.
No, absolutely not. Lord have mercy. So I think that we sometimes see ourselves as we're better than that in terms of like if you and your relationship with your cousin, y'all could say, oh, it's not going to be a problem. We don't have to write it down. That we will be fine. And
the paper keeps everything above board
and keeps you honest.
Yes.
And so I think in those types of agreements, they need to just ensure that they actually have, what happens if somebody wants to sell.
Why are people so afraid of paper? Prenuptials or, other types of agreements like this. It's like, what you're getting into. Like make the decision on the front side with what you're getting into. We ain't have a prenup because we ain't had nothing.
We had zero.
We was broke together.
Right. Our prenup would be like, well, you know what? Something happened. You take your zero. I take my zero.
It was like, you got a car note. I got a car note. You got 5 credit cards. I got 5 credit cards. You got student loans. I got student loans. All right. We equally yoked.
And we were financially...
We matched up.
We were. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. And we had no assets. So there it is.
Like, there ain't nothing to divide.
It was nothing to divide.
Like, boom, we good.
But the thing, this brings this up. If something were to happen to me, or if something were to happen to you.
Oh, no, that's a different story now.
Listen, we have already had this conversation.
Whoever goes on to be with the Lord.
Mm-hmm. And then if you get married again, or if I were to get married again.
Prenup in place.
Boom. It's in writing already right now.
That's built into the trust.
Because guess what? We're not playing these games. Okay?
Right. It's a different story now.
Because what you and I built, that fool ain't gonna get.
Look, you wanted to say something different, but we on the podcast.
I said that fool, okay?
I know you well enough. You was like...
Anywho, it's in writing already, okay?
You got my eyes watering over here.
I'm sorry, babe. It's real. That's real talk.
Yeah.
So we're not afraid to get it in writing.
No, I'm not. I'm not afraid. Like if our child, one of our children decide to do this, I'd be like, we gonna run this by the lawyer. We're gonna get all this checked out. We're gonna get the documentation in place because I think it removes any questions.
So I have a question for you. It's a little bit of a side journey, but let's just say.
Hold on, let me put my seatbelt on.
Okay, buckle in.
Okay.
But let's fast forward 10 years. Let's say one of our daughters had not gotten married at that point.
Okay.
And at that point, she was considering marriage. And let's say in that 10-year time period, she has amassed, I'm going to say $200,000 in net worth. And the person that she is deciding to marry has debt or absolutely has no net worth. Would you advise her to get a prenup?
You know what I would advise her to do is to have a very transparent conversation first. Mm-hmm. To say, hey, this is what I've done. This is what I've managed to accumulate. This is what I'm bringing to the table. Mm-hmm. This is what you've done. This is what you're bringing to the table. There may be a bit of a inequity or discrepancy. Mm-hmm. If this didn't work out, what would be your expectation? Mm-hmm. Like get it out on the table via a discussion then based on that discussion, determine what they should do.
So that is exactly what this podcast is about. Is finding ways to have conversations and let them figure it out. But I think that it is a valid conversation to have. It's a valid question for people, because I've seen people and people have not gotten married because of that.
We talk about me and my cousin potentially buying real estate before, and now we're basically the same age, and he's unmarried. If he got married, I know for a fact he would get a prenup.
Oh, he better get a prenup.
I would
dude
tell him,
got money.
I would be like, bro, you're not getting married without that paper. You better put her on paper.
Yeah.
Now, unless she had more paper, I'd be like, well, maybe don't get no prenup. Then, something happened to her, marry an older lady. You get that bread.
A cougar. So, you know
I don't know if I'm 50-something, how old she got to be?
She got to be 70.
Is this still a cougar?
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
is it
It's a cougar. Hush up now. Don't say nothing else.
a mountain lion?
Stop. You know what? I cannot with you. Anyway, you said a mountain lion. Why did she go from a cougar? A cougar is smooth. Okay? She is fast. You know what I'm saying? A mountain lion. Wow. Anyway, I'll remember that when I'm 70. You gonna call me a mountain lion? Wow. Anyway.
Look, okay, going to the next point. Because we talk about co-buying with friends.
Yes.
But another thing that people are doing is multi-generational homes and multi-generational living. Because where you can have a property, but you've got, a grandmother, daughter, son, grandkids, all living in one place. And we know that firsthand.
Yeah, I see some cultures have been doing this for generations.
I know the Hawaiians, a lot of people in Hawaii, because Hawaii is so expensive. But they've been living
case in point, that's the point, right?
Yeah, they've been living in multi-generational homes where they have basically one property, but they've got different living arrangements within that property.
And so when we look at this, I think that this is smart. I'm not going to say it's easy, but
Sure it's not easy unless you have like a property where this is a main house and then you have like a secondary.
And you have to have money for that.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. We're talking about affordability. And so my mother decided to move in with my sister, and she moved across the country to do so. To simplify her life, she didn't want the responsibility anymore of taking care of her own home. And
it was probably time for her to do that.
Mom is 79.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
She would have either went there or came here. So.
And so
She won't come here because I be putting people to work.
Listen, let me tell you. But see,
79 or not, I'd be like, look, mama.
You know what? Guess what?
I'm gonna need you to clean that bathroom up over there.
But you didn't. This is the thing. We didn't.
You get that vacuum out.
You know what? I ain't got time for you. You gonna have my mama being a maid? I ain't got time for you. Anyway, so.
See, my mother deceased, so I can't even say I.
And I can't say nothing either because she
Big Mary,
deceased.
Big Mary, I'd be like, look, now I'm Big Mary, you want to get something to work.
Really? Really?
I don't know. I might not have said that.
Your mama would have grabbed you up by the neck.
Yeah.
And she'd have been like, little boy, you still my son. So, and my mother would have probably went off. But anyway, so she decided to live with my sister, and my sister has smaller kids, and so it's a lively
environment.
environment.
They're not going to get the vacuum either, so.
They probably won't. They probably not. So, but anyway, mom pays rent. The point I'm making is that mom pays rent. She wants to, and it also is helpful for my sister and her husband to have that extra income. It makes things more flexible. Mom buys groceries and does the things, but it's just easier.
And mom is saving money.
She is saving money.
She's saving money by not paying. She used to live in a townhome and she was paying rent there. So I know what she's paying your sister is significantly less than she was paying for rent. And she's not paying utilities and stuff now. So her extra that she's paying them is helping them augment, even though it's about time for them to move, buy another house.
And that's so this is where I'm going for here is I have suggested to my sister that at some point they probably need to buy another house that is a ranch, so mom doesn't have to go up and downstairs. And that costs more money. But if you have multiple people who are there's 3 people in there who have incomes coming in. And that makes a move more affordable. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not saying that it's ideal, but I am saying that it makes it more affordable. So at some point, if that is a choice that family makes, then they can do so.
All right, so now I got to interject here.
Okay.
Because I think about multi-generational living a little different.
Oh, Lord.
In my current frame of thinking. Mm-hmm. And like I told you, I think I would buy like property, like acreage, and build a home, and then have space to have my kids if they wanted to. If they were going to choose to live in the same area as us, if they had other kids, and they hadn't either got into home ownership or they wanted to buy, their next house, buy and build a house on the property that we had. Mm-hmm. So we create this little, family compound, which would, in essence, be part of their inheritance anyway. But, I think that'd be awesome.
So
buy me a nice little 10 acres and give them 2 apportioned acres for each of them, and then boom, build their house.
My mother's friend said to me one time, you moving to where your kids are is contingent on them wanting to be near you.
Well,
you have this vision and or dream, but what if they don't want to be that close?
You know what? We're going to find out. Because I'm going to call them after this podcast and be like, hey, I was thinking about buying, this property. You want to build a house on it? Because
they not going to live anywhere that we want to do that. Let's be where they are right now. So we would have to move, all of us would have to move somewhere else. Because none of us want to be doing that in any other places where we are.
Oh, no. I'm open to that, because right. I'm not going to retire in this cold.
Yes. This snow got to go. It's for the birds.
Yeah, we out shoveling the patio so the dog has a path out to the yard.
My baby got to be taken care of. I'm just saying.
I'm like, this dude, he need a job.
He does. I will agree with you on that. So here's the problem with multi-generational living is the privacy aspect. And,
especially if you're in a single family home and you just have a room and all other space is co-shared space.
But one of my best friends, she had her mother-in-law in a casita that was attached, and it was still not enough separation.
Yeah.
Right? Like in terms of privacy. I think you would actually need to have a kitchenette for the in-law, if you will, or for the quarters in order for them to have their own full independence.
Now, when we lived in the southwest area of the country, they have homes that have like casitas, which are kind of
detached,
standalone, detached, 1 bedroom, bathroom. You could have like a kitchenette situation where that has its own entrance and exits and stuff like that. I think when you are in a position to do that, that's optimal. And like we've seen like in Hawaii, that's how a lot of those houses are constructed, or even in California where they can zone a garage as living space. They make it a house. It's technically a garage, but then they make it into a house so people have their own in and out. That's different because privacy is an issue when it's multi-generational living like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that, were you going to say something else?
I was just going to say, there's a part of me that thought my mother would have her own space, but closer to one of us. And this multi-generational living, it makes sense. Like, and it.
You thought she would like live in an apartment near one of us.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so this makes sense, but the privacy, I think you and I are more private than my sister and her husband.
Maybe.
And so while we toy with the idea of would our parents live with us, that kind of thing, that isn't something in my mind, like as an adult today, that's a consideration for people they have to really be serious that it's going to be okay.
I think it's a consideration for us because put us in a situation and have multi-generational living where we're going to live with the kids. I created an idea where the kids are coming to us and have their own property because I'm thinking about value. You know, portion off a couple of acres. Now you own that acreage and you own your home, but it's just close to us. So I'm thinking about that differently. But if we were to go live with them, it's like, well, no, I want my own space.
See, it's different.
I might live with you, but I want my own.
So this is the
Don't
thing.
be walking in my house without knocking on the door.
Yeah, and I don't want to know your comings and goings. The other thing is that our kids are independent. So I don't know that they would even embrace the whole compound thing.
I told you, I'm going to find out today.
You find out. But I think that I don't want to know their comings and goings that deeply.
Yeah.
I don't mind being in the same city and let's pop over when we can. Let's have dinner on Sunday, that kind of thing. But I don't want to hear your car pulling up.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't.
I think that takes us to the third, potential when you talk about co-buying, multi-generational, like saving in a smarter way, like having kids stay at home longer.
Yeah.
Because I actually told one of our daughters.
We told both of our kids.
Yeah.
That they can stay until they were ready to go.
Yeah, but I think one, I knew she would probably just go and be on her own. But I told the other, I said, well, if you need to come and stay with us for a while you figure out, next steps, I'm cool with that. But I think that's the one that's least likely to do it.
Neither one of them want to stay with us. No. I think that says something. What does that say, honey?
I'm about to find out today. I feel like I need to make some calls to these kids because the way you saying this, I'm like, what?
Can I just be honest? Everything I heard you say, I think they believe you control. They don't want you to control the situation. Does this require some internal reflection?
It just might. I guess I got to be prepared for the answers I get.
But you have girls, and I do think it's different. I do, with everything in me, Chris, I believe that if you had boys, I wonder if this would be a different conversation.
Right, I might be like, son, look, you got to figure it out, bro.
We have friends who ready to kick their sons out the house. They like, get out. We can't wait for y'all to figure out y'all life.
Yeah.
And we have girls.
And they look at our girls and how we may interact differently than the way they interact with their sons.
Yes,
but
we are way more tender with our girls and way more protective.
Yes, I'm not gonna say that, but
no, but I think that's a different vantage point.
Yeah.
And hey, call me on the carpet if it's sexist, but I do believe that like we do treat our girls differently than if we had sons.
Yeah, I think that we're more nurturing with our daughters just because women have a softer side to them, and so I think I embrace that because I have 3 women in my life that I feel I have been entrusted with their care.
Yes.
So I'm thinking about that in all aspects. And like I even said to you, we, you guys should have seen the national championship episode by now.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
But our daughter and her boyfriend were traveling to the game together. And I told him, I said, look, man, when she traveled with me, she used to, certain things. And I'm entrusting that her care and safety is in your hands right now. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing when they get husbands. It's like, I'm gonna have the same conversation. Like, look, I have cared for them. I have secured them. And I'm putting the trust that I have in you on how they're gonna be cared for now. So that would be, I'm transferring that responsibility that I feel today to someone else in the future.
Yes. And I do think that there is a standard that we also have. We want our girls to be independent and to be able to take care of themselves, but we also understand.
Be pretty and smart.
But we don't want the world to take advantage of them.
Right.
And so if our girls had decided, sure, I want to stay home for a year or two and work and save money, that was an option open.
I'd have been all for it.
Absolutely.
We want them to get a good foundation. And because we're in a situation where they could stay with us, I would have charged them some rent just to help create that, that flex that muscle and create that responsibility. But it wouldn't have been anything like paying $1,500 a month in rent.
So let's walk through this. $1,500 a month. Let's just, for round number's sake, I'm not saying I would do this, but like, let's say we charge them $500 in rent.
Right.
And they could save that $1,000 for 2 years.
Living in the places they live in, there's car fees, parking, a couple $100s.
No utilities. So you think about it, they likely could save $24,000 at least, right? And so on a $250,000 property, that's 10% down. You know,
that's a good start. That's a good situation.
Right. And so when you think about that, that makes things more affordable.
Or buy a less than $250,000 property, do a little elbow grease.
Where we gonna find that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, it just depends on where they live.
That man, you got to go to Alabama. You got to go to Mississippi.
Look, I think it's time to move this along. So.
Listen, okay. But all I'm saying is that that's an option. And the one mistake that I think parents make is not allowing that option to be considered for their child. I talked to a young person this week and I was a little disappointed. She had enough debt. She had $30,000 in debt at the age of 26. Her income was
that student loans?
No, well, half of it was. But her income was equal to that. And she's single, 26. And I told her, I said, based on the numbers that you're telling me, if you stayed at home for 2 more years, you could get it paid off. But she has a deadline. She has to get out in the next less than 6 months. And I was
a deadline from her parents.
And I was saddened by that because I thought they're throwing you, I don't know the backdrop. But I do know that presents a hardship for her. And it's a challenge when you're trying to figure out your life and you have the debt that's strapping you and keeping you from affordability out here. Because all she wants to do is rent. She don't even want to buy something.
In scenarios like that, I would let the kids stay longer to really, when they launch out, be on good financial grounds, because we launched out and we wouldn't have had the potential of staying with our parents like that. And I don't know if I would have wanted to. Yeah. Like, my mom's house had 1 bathroom. I was like, bruh.
And so I think that conversation with our young people is really, really important to just see where they are, what are they thinking, how can I help you, how do I ensure that you can be successful, what are the things that need to be done and in place so that you can launch off properly, because the last thing you want is for them to get out into the world and flounder for 5 years and then come back and live in your basement.
And end up back at home anyway.
You might as well have had them stay.
Look, I'm going to get to my make it worth it.
Okay.
And I think these are very different scenarios based upon whatever your situation looks like. So my make it worth it is like, give thought to like how you want to move and the sacrifice you're willing to make. Because it could potentially be short-term sacrifices in any of these scenarios. Yeah. Co-buying, because you're still cohabitating with someone, multi-generational living, or even staying at home longer. You may make some sacrifices in the short term for bigger term gains. And so I want you to really think about the sacrifice you're willing to make and how you're going to commit to that to get those bigger gains down the line in the longer term. So what about you? What's your make it worth it?
Mine is a little different. It is a cautionary tale. So it is, be careful about going into purchasing a property with someone who isn't your spouse without it being a written down, right? Like,
get it on paper.
I think if you're dating someone and you're trying to purchase a property with them, you need to have that cohabitating agreement, but I also just think that's probably not wise, because what if the relationship doesn't work out? So, that's a whole nother conversation, living with somebody that you are dating, but especially it is cautionary as a parent or as a friend or as whoever it is that you're talking to, it can be challenging living with somebody who you are not married to. So make sure that, those things are in writing as well. So anyway, I
feel like we could just keep going on.
We could.
There's so many other things to just uncover, but I think this was a good conversation.
Yeah, so. I just think it's good to maintain the relationship. Just keep that first and foremost, because you don't want this endeavor to destroy the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, keep pressing like and subscribe. Follow us
Yes.
on YouTube
And
all the
until
other
next time.
platforms. We're out.
Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support, so be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on forbetterandworth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.